was around 2 o'clock in the morning, February 26, 2023. A driver was traveling eastbound on I-80 in Oakland, near the Edwards Avenue off-ramp. When something on the side of the road caught their attention, a woman was lying on her shoulder. She wasn't moving. And according to the witness, there was a man standing over her, stumping her body. California Highway Patrol officers were already responding to a report of an assault in progress. When they arrived, they found a woman suffering from a gunshot wound to the head. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Her name was Laketha McCowan. She was 36 years old, a mother, a wife, and before long, investigators began looking closely at the man she had married, Nathaniel McCowan. But once detectives looked into Nathaniel's past, they found something that would change the entire direction of the story. Because this wasn't the first time his name had been connected to a killing of a woman. More than 25 years earlier, Nathaniel and his older brother had stood trial together for another Oakland homicide. One brother was convicted, and the other one was within one vote of being convicted. 11 jurors reportedly said guilty, one did not. Before Laketha's name appeared in police reports and court documents, she had already built a life. She was a mother, an entrepreneur, and according to people who knew her, she was someone who carried a strong presence. Laketha also used social media to speak openly about life, pain, and getting back up after a setback. In one Facebook post, she wrote, "Strong people not only feel pain, they accept it, they learn from it, and they fight through it. They turn wounds into wisdom. They may fall, but they always get back up, dust off, and fight like they never fought before." In another post, she reflected on both the good and bad parts of life. "I am thankful for all of it. The highs, the lows, the blessings, the lessons, the setbacks, the comebacks, the love, the hate, everything." Laketha also spoke publicly about her marriage. She wrote about Nathaniel with pride. "I can't tell you how blessed I am to have you as my husband. When you came into my life, I knew you were God's choice for me." She thanked him for being her best friend, her father, a husband, a confidant, a provider, and a personal bodyguard. Those words show how Laketha chose to describe her husband publicly. They did not tell us everything that happened inside the marriage, but they do tell us that at least one point, Laketha believed that she had found someone who would stand beside her and protect her. By February 2023, Laketha and Nathaniel had been married for several years. On the night of February 25th, they attended a friend's birthday party. According to witness account described in the reporting of the case, Nathaniel appeared angry about how intoxicated Laketha had become. The couple eventually left together in Nathaniel's Hyundai. Investigators said the disagreement continued after they got inside the vehicle. What happened during the next few hours is now at the center of the murder case against Nathaniel. Nathaniel later gave investigators his version of what happened. He said that at around 2 o'clock in the morning, he pulled over near 73rd Avenue and let Laketha out of the car. He said he had been drinking. He also claimed that after dropping her off, he crashed the Hyundai near 106 and the Interstate 580. Nathaniel said he then left the vehicle and walked home. According to his account, he did not know what happened to Laketha after she got out of the car, but Laketha was not found near 73rd Avenue. She was found on the eastbound shoulder of the Interstate 580 near Edwards Avenue off-ramp. She had been shot in the head. And a passing driver reported seeing a man standing over a woman and stomping her body. When detectives questioned Nathaniel, he reportedly expressed concern about his wife's location. Investigators told him that the woman matching Laketha's description had been found dead on the freeway. Nathaniel acknowledged that the description sounded like his wife, but he reportedly said he did not believe the woman was Laketha. Investigators identified Nathaniel as their primary suspect. Still, they did not arrest him that morning. They did not arrest him that month. They did not arrest him that year. Nearly 2 years passed. To Laketha's family and friends, it may have looked like the case had stalled. But detectives continued gathering evidence and working with prosecutors. Then in January 2025, the case moved. On January 2nd, 2025, the Alameda County District Attorney Office filed charges against Nathaniel McCowan. The judge issued an arrest warrant the same day. CHP detectives coordinated with officers in South Sacramento, Stockton, and Elk Grove. Their search took them roughly 90 miles away from Oakland to Sky River Casino in Elk Grove. At approximately 11:50 that night, officers located Nathaniel inside the casino. With assistance from casino security, he was arrested without incident. He was transported back to Alameda County and booked into Santa Rita County Jail. Nathaniel was charged with murder, corporate entry to a relationship partner, and possession of a firearm by a felon. The murder charge included allegations that he had personally and intentionally discharged the firearm and caused great bodily injury. Prosecutors also alleged that Nathaniel had prior strike convictions. In May 2025, Nathaniel pled not guilty and denied the enhancement and prior conviction allegation. But when prosecutors listed Nathaniel's prior record, one entry stood out: a conviction for voluntary manslaughter dating back to 2000. And that conviction brought the story back to another young mother, a woman named Yulanda Dedmon. Yulanda Dedmon was 22 years old. She had a 4-year-old daughter, and according to court records, she had been involved in an on and off relationship with Nathaniel's older brother, Emmanuel McCowan. Emmanuel was married. In 1997, Emmanuel was arrested on drug and firearm charges and was held inside Santa Rita County Jail. While he was in custody, he reportedly wrote letters to both his wife and Yulanda. Then at some point, both women arrived to visit him. The two relationships collided. After Emmanuel was released, those letters became a problem. According to testimony, Emmanuel wanted them returned, and the person reportedly sent to retrieve them was his younger brother Nathaniel. On June 24, 1997, Yulanda told people she was waiting for someone to come and collect the letters. She referred to the person as Man's brother. Man was Emmanuel's nickname. His brother was Nathaniel. That night was the last night Yulanda's family saw her alive. The following morning, a friend arrived at Yulanda's apartment. The front door was unlocked. Inside was Yulanda's 4-year-old daughter alone. Yulanda was gone. Her brother contacted police and reported her missing. Later that same day, June 25, 1997, an 8-year-old boy was on his way to baseball practice, discovered a woman's body near the middle school on Fontaine Street in Oakland. It was Yulanda. According to federal court records, she suffered gunshot wounds, 18 incised wounds, and blunt force trauma. The coroner testified that the injuries were inflicted while she was still alive. The investigation eventually focused on Emmanuel and Nathaniel McCowan, two brothers, one victim, and a case that would end with two very different outcomes. Prosecutors believe Emmanuel had a motive. He was married. His relationship with Yulanda had been exposed, and the letters in Yulanda's possession could create even more trouble inside his marriage. A witness named Aquila Jones later testified about a statement attributed to Emmanuel. According to that testimony, Emmanuel complained that Yulanda had been in man's business. But the case did not rest on that statement alone. Another major piece of evidence came from Emmanuel's cousin, Torrance Randall. According to the court records, Randall originally told investigators that Emmanuel admitted what happened to Yulanda. The reported account described Emmanuel knocking out Yulanda unconscious, taking her away in an attempt to kill her by stomping her on her head and stabbing her. But once Randall took the witness stand, the story became more complicated. He disputed or backed away from the portion of the statement investigators said he had previously made. The jury had to decide which version they believed, the statement given in the investigation or the testimony given inside the courtroom. The evidence involving Nathaniel came from a different direction. Yulanda had reportedly been expecting him to retrieve Emmanuel's letters, and a woman who had been in a relationship with Nathaniel gave police an incriminating statement. According to her original account, Nathaniel said, "I shot the bitch." When she took the stand, she recanted. She took the statement back. The defense also presented testimony from the McCowan brothers' parents about where their sons had been during the relevant time. Now, Emmanuel and Nathaniel were brothers. They were tried together, but the jury had to judge them separately. The question was not whether their family looked suspicious. The question was whether prosecutors could prove the guilt of each brother beyond a reasonable doubt. In 1999, a jury finally returned, but they did not return with one ending. They returned with two. The jury reached a verdict against Emmanuel McCowan, guilty of murder. The Alameda County portal confirmed that the jury found Emmanuel guilty and that he was sentenced to life in state prison. For Emmanuel, the case ended with a final judgment. His future had been decided. But when it came to Nathaniel, the jury could not reach a unanimous verdict. 11 jurors reportedly voted to convict him. One jury did not agree. That left the vote 11-1. Now, in almost any other situation, 11 votes would look overwhelming, but not in a criminal trial. A guilty verdict must be unanimous. All 12 jurors must agree that the prosecution had proven their case beyond a reasonable doubt. Because the jury cannot agree, the judge declared a mistrial in Nathaniel's case. That did not mean he was found innocent. It did not mean he was acquitted. It meant the jury failed to reach a final verdict. The state could have retried him again. Instead, the case was eventually resolved through a plea agreement. The Alameda County Court portal confirms that Nathaniel pleaded no contest to voluntary manslaughter. The original murder charge was reduced, and on December 15, 2000, Nathaniel was sentenced to 7 years in state prison. One brother received a life sentence, the other received 7 years, and eventually Nathaniel returned to Oakland. Nathaniel's criminal record did not end with the manslaughter conviction. In 2007, he was convicted of being a felon in possession of a firearm. The Alameda court record showed that he was sentenced to another 3 years in state prison. Later court filing also lists burglary and identity theft matters from 2010 and another burglary matter from 2015. Because we do not know complete original case files for those matters, we are not going to speculate about the pleas, sentences, or full circumstances. What the public court records do show is that Nathaniel's continued appearing in the criminal justice system after the Yulanda Dedmon case. Then, in May 2024, while the investigation into Laketha's death was still open, Nathaniel was charged in a separate firearm case. That case accused him of possessing a firearm despite a prior conviction of being a felon in possession of a firearm, possessing ammunition as a prohibited person, and possessing a large capacity magazine. Nathaniel pleaded not guilty and denied the prior conviction allegations. That case remained separate from Laketha's homicide case. Then came January 2025, the casino arrest, the murder charges, and the beginning of another Alameda County prosecution. Nathaniel's Karen murder case has now moved beyond the initial charging stage. On June 29, 2026, a judge held him to answer on the murder charge. That means the court found enough evidence at a preliminary stage of the case to move toward trial. The judge also held an answer on allegations of intentional discharge of a firearm, corporal injury on a relationship partner, great bodily injury, and possession of a firearm by a felon. Several other sentencing allegations received no findings at the stage, and the record showed that the 2007 felon in possession prior found true for the purpose of the current proceedings. Being held to answer is not a conviction. Nathaniel remained presumed innocent of Laketha's murder, unless and until it's proven guilty in court. The defense will have its opportunity to challenge the evidence, the witness account, Nathaniel's statement, the timeline, physical evidence, and nearly 2 years between Laketha's death and his arrest. The state still has the burden of proving this case beyond a reasonable doubt. What happened to Yulanda in 1997 cannot prove what happened to Laketha in 2023. Each case has its own evidence, its own witnesses, its own legal questions. But the history is still part of the story. Because in the first case, 11 jurors reportedly believed Nathaniel was guilty of murder. One did not agree. That disagreement prevented a murder conviction. Nathaniel later pled no contest to voluntary manslaughter. He served a 7-year sentence. He returned to Oakland. Years later, Laketha called him husband, her best friend, her provider, her personal bodyguard. Then in the early morning hours of February 26, 2023, Laketha was found shot on the side of an Oakland Freeway. Nathaniel now accused of killing her. Yulanda Dedmon's daughter was 4 years old when she was found alone inside her mother's apartment. Laketha's family and children were also left to continue their lives without her. One McCowan brother case ended with a life sentence. The other brother case ended with a 7-year plea. Now Nathaniel was back inside Alameda County courtroom, facing accusations that could put him in prison for the rest of his life. The first jury stopped at 11. This time, 12 people may once again be asked to decide how the story ends.